Ma'am will be starting with our interview. Yeah. A warm welcome to one and all present here. I'm Shranya Sachdeva with my co-host Manav Ajit, here to continue the series of Bharat Dialogue conducted by BITS Embryo, with yet another inspirational speaker. Her initiative and commendable work towards Indian Space Research Organization is prominent in one of the biggest projects, like Aditya L1 mission. Today, we have this honor to have a distinguished scientist amongst us who have taken India beyond stars, Miss Nigar Shaji.
It's our great honor to welcome you, ma'am, with a career expanding for more than 2 decades. Dr. Shaji's dedication to her field and her inspiring journey serve as a testament to the power of perseverance and innovation.
As part of our ongoing Bharat Dialogue event, we encourage to inspire young minds and foster their knowledge in the field of Indian advancements. So, to begin with this interview, ma'am, could you please share your journey that led you to join ISRO and how you decided to pursue your career in space research?
Yeah, good evening, all, and it's my pleasure to be with you all with the young generation. It's always a pleasure to be with the younger generation. To start my journey, because I'm from a small town from south of Tamil Nadu, and I had my primary and higher education in the government school of my native place in that town. And see, it's my father who is a maths graduate who instilled in me an interest in maths and physics. And then my childhood dream was to become a scientist doing some research in the area of physics. But later I changed my mind and the technology was developing, so I decided to do engineering. And I did my engineering in Government College of Engineering, Tirunelveli. That's somewhere closer to my 2 hour journey from my town. So after the engineering, I did my engineering in electronics and communication engineering. That was just the field was just picking pace compared to it's a rather compared to our other basic engineering core engineering subject. This was rather little young that time of what I call. And then after finishing, I was looking for a job or a career to pursue. My interest was to have a career where I can apply what I have learned as a hardware core engineer. That's what I'm looking for, because those days the software as today it was not so much was there not, and it's just we were just using started using the computers. That's all. So my interest was to have. So I was looking for opportunities. Then the ISRO advertisement came, and I applied for it, and I got selected based, because those days they will do the selection based on the interviews. So I could get in. But once I got into this organization, it's just so nice an organization to work with, and you have a lot of job freedom, and you have a lot of things to do. You can define your own things and do so. And that way I got so much engrossed or interested in the space research, as well as it's space engineering, right? So that's how I continued. I never looked back, and I never had an idea of leave this organization to go for anything else, because the job what I was, the career what I have got, and the job what I did was so interesting. So I continued in that. That's how I am into ISRO.
Um,
Thank you for
so,
your answer, ma'am.
so you spoke of college. Many students are curious about the journey that leads to this. So could you expand a little bit more about that, about how you pursued all your interest during college years and how it eventually, you know, could you expand a little bit more about that?
Yeah, if you take a spacecraft or a rocket which we build to have our own space assets, which will give a space application. If you say it's a multidisciplinary. See, if you take anything in that, if you take a spacecraft, there you can see all possible sciences and engineering field into it. For a spacecraft to build, you need mechanical engineering, even chemical engineering for the propulsions, and structural engineering, thermal engineering, electronics, software. So it's a mix of, if you need maths and physics also for flight dynamic studies, and aerospace for the other aerospace activities. So it's multidisciplinary. So we normally in ISRO we need engineers and scientists from all the fields, engineering fields as well as science fields. So it's presently what we are doing is we have an institute of our own, Indian Institute of Space Technology, and we those who are joining there who can score above a certain CGPA, then they will be absorbed directly into. Apart from that, we will conduct a test every year somewhere in Feb, and based on the test results will be given an interview, and the we will have the post filled with that. So everyone almost in all core branches of engineering have an opportunity, and we also look for a strong fundamental people rather than the skill sets, right? Here, once you join with a strong fundamental thing, you can always build your skill set which can suit to the type of work what you are doing. And we have, it's a beautiful labs we have, and all the cutting edge technology tools, everything we have. So it's only you need to have a strong fundamental and you can get in. That's how we normally work on this opportunities. So like that, I also, because I was basically an electronics engineer in the spacecraft, more than some 40% of the systems are electronic systems. So normally we recruit a lot of electronics and communication engineering. So that's how I got into it. So whoever is interested can, any field of engineering, you can try for ISRO jobs and you will have a career in ISRO.
That's great to know, ma'am, because I'm myself pursuing electronics and communication from WIPS. So that's really great to know. Uh, and your work has been very focal in some of the most crucial projects of ISRO's mission. Could you highlight some of the key projects that has been significant in contributing to Indian advancements in the field of space research?
Yeah, because my journey started in ISRO. Initially, I was a radar engineer, which for radars, because straight from college, we had a radar engineering paper too. So I was working in radars where we have to track the launch vehicles. That was the thing. After that, I started as a test engineer for all the spacecraft. Almost, see, basically, if you take ISRO, originally, ISRO was founded with a aim to have the improve the standard of living of the common man, and how the common man we can through space application technology, how the common man can be benefited and his standard of living can be improved. So we started with the two areas, basically a remote sensing as well as the communication satellites. So I started my career as a test engineer where the integrated spacecraft testing of all this, whether it is both remote sensing as well as the communication satellites. Remote sensing, we are now we have a good hold and we are self-sufficient for what the country needs to service the country needs. We are quite self-sufficient. So those are all the things, and we have now remote sensing. Even for the strategic applications, we have better cameras which have centimeter resolution or meter resolution, and we have ocean studies spacecrafts, we have cartographic spacecrafts. These are all the spacecrafts which we do in remote sensing, and especially communication. Communication also we have the throughput and bandwidth, and we have a transponders which with most of our lot of our banking systems, even the stock market, many of these application people they are using our transponders. So these are all the way weird. Then later we enter into a navigation spacecrafts where we have, like GPS, we wanted to have our own system of navic systems, so we built that. So once we are self-sufficient in all this application oriented, these are all the spacecrafts almost as a test engineer, and later as in my career growth as a deputy project director or project manager, you have been working on that. Then later I started working on the onboard systems, which for the telemetry system. Then I moved towards the project management and system engineering part of it. Then I became the associate project director and project director, and slowly shifted to the project management as well as the system engineering aspect. After that, we entered into the science missions. So that's how the journey. Now also we build a lot of application as well as the science. So you all know Chandrayaan 3, Aditya, and all those. Last year was a very successful year for us, and we were into it. And further, we are working on a lot of science missions as well.
That's really great to know. As a part of our dialogue, we are to explore the future of various industries. What are your thoughts on the future of space exploration, especially for India?
Yeah, because government also is looking at it, because now if you see, once maybe in years back, it was space applications or technologies was only a luxury, right? It was not. But today it is not that. It has grown to a level of necessity. So now many of us, it's become a part of life today, the space applications technology, because if you take remote sensing or communication, anything, it's all are interleaved, and many of our application services and navigation. Without navigation today, you cannot do anything. See, if the positioning system is not there, you depend for starting from the map of the route, and everywhere this positioning navigation is a must. So that way, so now the space reforms. Recently, the space reforms are introduced so that it involves a lot of private and ISRO partnership. And if you see the take the economy, we are only contributing 2% of the world space economy, and it's a fast growing. The space economy is fast growing, and its government industries also too. In another decade, we should be in a position to contribute to 10% of the world space economy. So a lot of we have been it has been one in space, a separate under department of space, a separate entity is created, which will aid and which will help the private partnerships or the startups. They have a lot of plans for the startups, and as ISRO is ready to handhold with them, even as a technology transfer or as a guidance. So that way, it's now the present plan is to involve the entire industry and the startups in every part, even the exploration. See, now it's we are all moving towards from the bigger spacecraft to micro satellites. So micro buses and the constellation is the trend of the day, and a lot of applications are moving towards that. So we are also involving a lot of, and if you see today, a lot of private companies are entering into this the space in this one. Only that you have to see the sustainability, and the market is also evolving, and the market also has a good demand. So that way, this is going to be a good future for private, and we also will is going to be successful and contributing more towards the space economy.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure with such great achievements comes with great challenges as well, but addressing them is also a part of a growth. So, in your experience, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you have to overcome in your career, and how did you tackle them?
See, if you take any career, you have to know how to manage the failures, right? Here in space, a small mistake also will turn into a bigger failure or a disaster. So, what I learned in my career is in space, especially if you take how well you anticipate the failures that determine your success. If you take our Chandrayaan 2 also, we have anticipated so many conditions, so many things, so many simulations, so many testing, and we have spent years in testing. But even then, something which we have not anticipated, the way the situation evolved. So it's only, and also we should learn how to use the failures for our learning and advantage, and how to come out of this, and how to motivate yourself to come out of that. So such is the, I feel that managing the failures and coming out in good flying colors is the biggest challenge what you have to maneuver and get out of it. And we were also so very sad and unhappy when we had a failure. So those things we have utilized in Chandrayaan 3, and we could come out successful. And especially in Aditya also, many times we had a very because subsystems, some of the two failures what I want to mention is there was a mirror system which during vibration it failed. It's all broken into pieces. So it is that we have to redo it, and what was the mistake and why it has broken. So the challenges is mainly, I feel, it is the failure management, and anticipating your the failures and making a good system in the first go itself. That's the biggest challenge what we have.
And that's very inspiring to listen to. As the project director of Aditya L1, what are the primary scientific goals of the mission, and what potential breakthroughs do you anticipate from studying the sun?
See, this Aditya was conceived with the two major objectives. One is, see, though we know sun for quite some time, but still the processes, what are all the process which makes this major solar events? If you take flares or your storms or the coronal mass ejections, all those things, still the origin or how it propagates, that processes are not very well understood. Though we have lot of missions from NASA, ISRO, so many, and lot of studies are going, and there is a separate heliophysics branch is also evolved over the time. But even then there is still lot of that. One important thing is the sun coronal heating. If you might have studied that, though the photosphere temperature is of 100 to 200 million, the suddenly coronal temperature rises to million degrees Kelvin. So that process, there are two school of thoughts whether it is magnetic reconnection. So such a one is for understand the process. The next is, as our space assets are growing. So today in India, we ourselves we have more than 50 spacecrafts in orbit, and these space assets, and also if you have going to have a space station, and the space astronauts which comes out, who comes out and for extravehicular activities and all, they are all prone to this the eruptions from the sun. And these eruptions, the solar flares which travels at very fast speed, and the solar wind as well as the coronal mass ejection, they will hit the spacecrafts which are orbiting, and they can damage it. And there are many instances where the spacecraft got damaged by these eruptions or the storms. So now worldwide there is a lot of studies going on to have a better space weather model, to predict the space weather well in advance, like how we predict earth weather, like our cyclone prediction as well as the daily weather prediction. Like that we have a space weather prediction. So all over the world that is going on, and we also want to, we don't want to lag behind the others, and we will have a mission of our own which has payloads. With that we can better our space weather model, and with that we can have a warning system, so that our space assets can be preserved. And now in the coming years, we are again our space assets is going to increase further and further. So these are all the two major objectives by which the Aditya L1 was conceived and evolved. And the payloads, we have 7 payloads which contribute to these two objectives. So with this outcome, and the spacecraft has a life of 5 years, it can live further more, also depends on the fuel availability and the system's reliability. It can work for more than. So with this we can have breakthroughs in understanding the process, as well as we can have a better understanding, or how to the warning, better space weather warning system in the future we can build. These are all the outcome which we are expecting by this space mission.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. As you mentioned about heliophysics, we want to know that how will the findings of Aditya L1 mission influence the future space missions on the research in astrophysics and heliophysics?
That's what, because I have, as I answered for the previous question, this it is going to enrich. It is not only Indian heliophysics community, the worldwide these outcome, because we have a lot of new payloads which has not been flown earlier, especially our solar ultra imaging telescope. It is the first one which is going to view the sun in the UV range of 200 to 400 nanometer, and we have lot of particle payloads which is also looking into the lower energy particles. So that way it is going to really enrich, and we have our space weather model. It is going to be much more perfected, and even we have a magnetometer that will help along with the particle physics payloads. So together we can have a better model and better understanding of the sun process.
That's very informative now. Can you provide insights um, into India's proposed mission to Venus and its significance in planetary exploration?
Yeah, because if you take any planetary exploration way, there are only two reasons. One is to just to know the how the solar system evolved and what will be the future of our Earth based on the studies of the other planets. And the next one is if in case, and we are also exploiting our Earth, and so once it is beyond control, how to colonize the other planets, that's the second aspect. Third is whatever the maybe high rich minerals, or how to utilize the resources what is available in elsewhere, which can be utilized for our own consumption. So, and the basic question is how the life came into existence, how we came into existence, and where we come from, and where we will go. So these are all the basic things which trigger the humankind to go into all this type of space explorations. So as a part of it, Venus exploration also, because in any exploration, the technologies which will help us. If you suppose if you take Chandrayaan, our landing technology, that we have got into the technology, we have mastered the technology of landing in any planet which doesn't have an atmosphere. So such technology will be very useful for further exploration. If you want to go to Mars, it's a different technology. There it has a thin atmosphere, so the landing technology what we have to master is little different from what we have achieved in Moon. So that way, that lot of technology. And one more thing is, by developing all this technology, we can also capitalize on our soft power on the whole world. So this always, technology means you have a power, the nation has a power, and you also will be respected more based on your technological capability all over the world. So these are all the aspects we specifically do to understand the planets, as well as how they evolved. So here in the case of Venus also, it is there is a school of thought that Venus actually, if you see, Venus and Earth are called twin planets, because they almost formed at the same time, and same period, the same evolving process, but the two planets are so different. See, the presently the Venus is so hostile. You cannot, if you all may be knowing, the surface temperature is of the order of 450 degrees centigrade, and the pressure is of the order of. So there is a school of thought that like Venus was once habitable and became like this. So it is always curious to know how it, whether it was once habitable, and what are all the processes which made that planet. So that will be useful for us. Our Earth also may become like that one day. So that's the one. So for that, we are planning a mission. Actually, originally before Mars, many explorations has happened. For Venus was the first outside Earth planet which was explored more. Then, because of the hostile environment, we shifted our whole around the world. They shifted the attention towards Mars, Moon, and things. So here also we wanted to study, especially we wanted to surface. We wanted to study the surface, atmosphere, as well as the interaction of the solar energy with the atmosphere of the Venus. These are all the three main objectives with which our payloads has been designed. So this is the that's how it evolved. And Venus mission, we're like everyone else. We also wanted to something more, and something more than what anybody else has found out with this data. And also the over the time, what is the change also we can find out, because somebody has gone in 1960s 70s, they have got some data. Today you get the data. So that difference in data gives you a lot of new way the process how it is evolved. So this is the objective behind the Venus exploration mission.
Thank you, ma'am. With how do you balance the demands of high pressure job with your personal life? Like, what keeps you motivated throughout?
See, it's more of a self motivation. See, it's a what you want to do. See, I my motivation was always to have a career. That's my joy. So it's how do you manage? Means again depends on you have to prioritize the jobs planning and with well defined support on the personal side. So see, it is not that it is sometimes office career is more important, sometimes the personal life is. So you have to prioritize which one you have to give the priority, and also a proper planning you can always balance so that you will plan in advance. And definitely without the support system at home you cannot have that, because in the present societal structure what we have, so we have interested with so many jobs as female. So so all those things we cannot make justice to everything 100%. Always you have to have a you also cannot demand that 100% you will be justifying what you have been interested on. So that way I have a full support. My mother is with me, she is my greatest support at home. So that's why I could concentrate more on my career. So I say that prioritizing, planning, and having a build a good support system, by these three things you will be able to have a balanced. You don't think you can balance, you can have a better career as well as person, you need not balance, you can have it both better.
That's great to know, ma'am. Could you share how your role as Associate Project Director for ResourceSat 2A contributed to the success of the mission and the advancement of satellite technology?
Resource at 2A, it's actually a follow on, because normally, all the spacecrafts will have a definite life in space. So the application has to be continued. So we'll have always a follow on measure. Suppose it is 5 years, 10 years mission. The resource at 2 was a 5 year mission, but it survived quite long. And also, this is a 2A is a follow on, as well as we wanted to have phasing with that earlier mission, so that we can have a better repetitivity. That is like the if you take any remote sensing, which is a polar orbit, what we put, it will not be continuously being the same. It will be per day at some particular time only. It will be viewing that particular point on the Earth, and after that the revisit time, no, it will be like after 14 days, depends on your payload capability. It will be varying from some few days to at some say the 2 3 days to. So how we improve this temporal resolution, that is frequency of the revisit, that you can put. That's why this constellation concept has come. So you put many spacecrafts in a phased manner, so that you will have more times. One spacecraft goes, other spacecraft will be viewing the same area. So that's how we. So this was we wanted to face it, so that improving the frequency of revisit. That's how. And also, yeah, in resource idea, we mainly concentrated on whatever the for this like some of the shortfalls or what it has not worked, some of the areas which we need to concentrate and we make it better, so that all the improvements were done. It's actually a very good resource management way. Water and agricultural, it's very useful, and water resource management and surface land management, all those aspects we have a beautiful three cameras. That way we concentrated on this. It's correcting the faults whatever happened in the previous spacecraft, and that way it was put in the orbit.
That's great to know, ma'am. I'm sure leadership and teamwork is key to success. How would you describe your approach to leadership and management skills in teamwork?
See, for any project management, I feel, in my experience, I feel the two things are very important. One is the decision making skills, and the other is the people management. So, for to have a very good decision making, your knowledge, you should also have a good knowledge, so that the decision can be, it will be very apt and very correct decisions you can make. Because in a project management decision making, if you don't make a proper decisions at the right time, and rightly, it leads to a lot of overrun and cost and schedule. So, and to make a good decision making, you should have a good thorough knowledge of the systems and the system engineering aspects. So that is one thing which is very important for anybody who is to be going to be a leader, or in any techno manager. This is one important aspect. Another is people management, because any project, anything you take, it's a teamwork. It's not a individual who is going to do everything. And when you have a multidisciplinary systems and a complex space systems like this, it's always a teamwork. And so how well you take your people along with you, and how you motivate your team, and how the, because in Aditya, if you take, I have to deal with the different work cultures, because some of the payloads are coming from the science institutes, and they have a different work culture and we have a different work culture. So how to manage both the cultures and make them also motivated, and so that we will have the project in time as per the schedule, and the what we have already given for us schedule, without any schedule and cost overrun. Because the schedule cost is the major aspects of, as you delay the project, you will lead to cost overruns. So these are all the two aspects you need to concentrate on any project management.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. Given ISRO's global recognition, how would you describe the importance of international collaborations in driving the advancement in space technology?
Yeah, international collaboration also is a very important aspect, because space projects, if you take, it's all because very huge cost involved projects. So when the country may not be very, we will not be fully able to support the full cost of the projects, and also the technology wise, they will be good in some other technology and we will be good in something. So the exchange of technology, whatever the, as well as the work cultures, if you, so we have these are all the three aspects. And everybody all over the world, if you take NASA, ISA, they all have lot of collaborative projects, mainly because of the cost aspects as well as the technology and science aspects. So we also have lot of collaborative projects. If you take earlier, we had Saral, so many projects. We used to host their payloads. That way, they have a technology which is so the payload outcome, it is useful for our country also, because of we are hosting the payload, we are entitled to use the data also. So that way we can recently also we have an NSR project. We have a collaboration with JPL for the climatic studies, and the glaciers and the snow studies. And we have a collaboration. We are building the base bus systems and a payload, and they are contributing. So, and recently we have another Trishna one project where the Kennes, the France space agency, is collaborating with us. So that way it's been there for last almost 10-15 years. We have been, even in Chandrayaan 1, we had a lot of payloads from all the other countries, so that we could, this one of the payloads of the JPL, with that data we could find water on the moon. So that way it's always in space, collaboration is a must. And without collaborate, if you take a space station, international space station, so how many countries have collaborated? Because involves a huge cost. So it is there in the space sector, and it will continue, and it will be a benefit to the entire world.
And ma'am, along these lines, how these partnership align with the long-term vision of the ISRO for next coming 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, because our concentration now is to moving towards the Chandrayaan follow-on missions, and to have a Bharati Antarik station like International Space Station. We also wanted to have a space station. So towards that, and also to further explorations. At the same time, our bread and butter of applications, space application. So these are all the future plans, and for that, all the new technologies like docking and so many other things, and also moon. Also, we wanted to. It is not on a, we have a habitat there. What are all the different research we need to do? What is the material the surface mineralogy has to be understood, and to have a structure, what is to be done, and all those things we are all moving towards that. And it is going to be another 20 25 years going to be very exciting for ISRO with all these new technologies, and also moving not well behind the other world space agencies.
Ma'am, so as you would know, our aim in Bharat Dialogue is to encourage the next generation. What advice would you like to give to the young minds, and what are the core values they should inculcate in order to succeed in this industry?
Yeah, it's something. It's a first thing, you should be very passionate or sincere about what you want to do. So it is not just dreaming or being passionate about what you want alone is not going to help. You have to put in lot of effort to gain knowledge in that area what you want to excel. Because just because yeah, acquiring more and more knowledge and mastering those area will automatically give in a passion in you to continue in that. So it's always what I say is put lot of effort to, and don't because sometimes you may get success very immediately, sometimes it will take a while for you to get a success. So it depends on the very focused way you have to put in, because in life or something, if you get if you want to get something, you have to lose. That's the conservation of law of conservation of energy applies to life also in every way. So that way you have to put in lot of hard work, and always develop your skills and knowledge. See, knowledge is power. So that is the thing. And with all this, you should first decide on what is the area you are passionate about. You be with that, you go with that, and develop knowledge and skill in that.
That's very insightful, ma'am. As we near the end of this enlightening session, I have one last question for you. In just 3 words, how would you describe what Bharat means to you?
Okay, I don't know 3 words. What I want India to be, a this I want the country to be in harmony and humane.
It was lovely to hear how you captured the essence of our country in such a powerful way. With this, we come to an end. Thank you, ma'am, for imparting us with your wisdom and knowledge that has made us dream even bigger and strive harder. Your words have truly inspired us, and we are grateful for all the incredible insights you have shared with us. On behalf of BITS Embryo, thank you for being with us and for leaving us with a renewed sense of purpose.
Thank you. I also, so it's my pleasure to be with all of you, and have a successful career and be humane. That's my wish. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
ma'am.
much, ma'am.